How do, and welcome back. Well, it's brew day, and today I'm going to be making my best bitter. I've already got the grains on steeping in about 3 litres of water at about 67 degrees. They're going to be in for about another 20 minutes. The grains I'm using are crystal malt, 250 grams, 60 Loverbond. So a nice sweet caramel malt there. I'm also using 50 grams of Simpson's black malt and also another 100 grams of toasted oats. I wanted toasted malt, but I ended up with toasted malted oats. But that's okay, it'll add some nice body and head retention. So these are going to steep for about another 20 minutes, and then I'm going to transfer to the kettle and we'll start the boil. My hops I'm using 60 grams of Fuggles for 60 minutes, and then I'm going to add an aroma addition which is about 28 grams of East Kent Golden, and that's it. So it's a really simple recipe, nice and easy brew day. When these are finished steeping, I'll come back to you. Well, it's been half an hour and I've changed the camera angle, so hopefully you can see a little bit more of what I'm doing than when the camera was over there in the corner. So it's been half an hour. The grains are steep now, so I should have a really lovely liquor in here. And what I'm going to do is just transfer them now into the kettle. I'm going to sieve it. I've got my sieve here so that none of the grains go in. And then we will just bring it up to the boil. I'll top it up to about 12 litres and then bring it up to the boil and add my dry malt extract. I'm only adding half as usual. This is 1.4 kilograms of dry malt extract. The other 1.4 kilograms will go in about 5 minutes to the end of the boil. Right, so let's get these grains in and let's get this liquor in, and we'll see what it looks like. I'm hoping this will be a nice rich colour. There we go. Just let them steep. Not drain, sorry. And then, and I've got to be careful here, I'll just go to the back and pull the plug out. Got to be careful because this urn can get quite hot. So let's pour this in here carefully. Oh, that's a really, I don't know if you can see on camera. Maybe what I'll do is I'll just move this. This is steep now. It's drained, I mean. I'll try and do it from higher up. That's a really, although it looks black on camera, but actually it's a really dark brown. And don't forget, that's concentrated. I'm going to dilute that so it looks like I'm on track to get that nice deep copper. Right, I'm going to plug this in. I'm going to top it up and I'll come back to you when it's boiling. This now is getting close to the boil. We're at about 95 degrees. You have a look. Yeah, about 95. You can see it's all frothed up. It's called a hot break, and if you're not careful, this froth can come all the way up, right up to the top of the kettle. Really, it can cover that space and even more, and it will boil over. So it's at around about 95 degrees. You've got to keep your eye on it. It's like milk. If you take your eye off, within a few seconds this thing's overflowing and you've got a real mess on your hands. So all I do is I just monitor the temperature and I just keep stirring it, making space for all the proteins to evaporate. And it usually takes about 5 minutes, something like that. And then when it's finished, it will just be it will just be the liquid just rolling, rolling boil of the liquid, and there won't be anywhere near as much foam, and then you're good to add the hops. So if you try extract brewing yourself, or even all grain, I think it happens as well, just make sure when it's coming up to the boil that you keep your eye on it and you keep stirring it, you keep making a space for all the proteins to evaporate. Otherwise you're going to have one huge mess on your hands, and if you're brewing this in the kitchen, your wife isn't going to be very happy. Let me just say that. Right, we've got a really nice rolling boil and everywhere's steaming up. Blimey, it is. So what I've got now is 60 grams of Fuggles hops, and we're just going to add them now to the kettle and let them boil for 60 minutes. Another tip, when you add the hops, just keep your eye on the kettle, because it can cause it to foam up again. Not using any hop sock, not using any spider, and I have found in the American Pale Ale, which I'll be drinking tomorrow, I've had a sneaky taste test of it already, but tomorrow's 2 weeks since it was bottled. So I'm going to have a cheeky taste test, and I'm going to have to turn that off. See, it foamed up. I should have had the camera down here then, shouldn't I? But yeah, I've had a sneaky taste test, and the hops were just coming through really well. And I wonder if it's just because I put them in loose. It's the first beer where I've actually put them in just loose. No hop socks, no spiders, nothing, and the hop flavour was just coming through really well. I'm going to do a taste test tomorrow and I'll video that, but I do wonder if it's because they were just able just to move everywhere inside the beer or the wort, and so that's what I'm doing again today. I'm going to switch this on before it cools down too much, and then I'll come back to you. Well, this is going to boil for an hour, so I'll come back to you in an hour. Okay, the hour's up. What I did when there was 15 minutes left is I added some, just a teaspoon, about 5 grams of Irish moss, and when it was about 5 minutes to go, I added the remaining 1.4 kilograms of dry malt extract. So this is finished now, except for the aroma hop, and I'm going to do a whirlpool again because I enjoyed it last time. So spray it with Star San, obviously. I'm going to create a whirlpool in here, and the reason is this time I've actually remembered to put the little guard at the other side of the tap in the kettle, which is meant to protect any sort of hop or malt bits getting into your fermenter when you siphon into the fermenter. And I'm going to see how it works. So last time, if you remember, I forgot to put it in, so I used the grain bag as a filter when I was transferring into the fermenter. This time I'm not. I'm just going to transfer it and see just how well this whirlpool works. I know after I transferred and I looked in the kettle, it was all there in the centre. So I'm going to see if it works. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a whirlpool, and then I'm going to add the remaining, well, the aroma hops, the 28 grams of East Kent Golding. But before I do that, actually I forgot, before I do that, I want to bring this temperature down to about 80 degrees. It's still about 100 because obviously it's just finished boiling. I want to bring that down to 80 degrees, and because I don't have any water in the garage, I use these big jerry cans. So I'm thinking if I just put in a couple of litres, well not even that, maybe 1 litre like I did last time, it does bring it down to the temperature I want. So let's see, what's this reading? It's going up because it's evaporated as it's been boiling and it's gone below my probe. So it was reading something like 60 degrees. Well, I know it's not 60 because it's just finished boiling. And you know what? I've hit the mark again. Just like last time. Bang on 80 degrees. Amazing. Right, just a litre. Okay, so here we go. Let's create that whirlpool. Oh, that's nice. That's really spinning now. So in goes the hops and they'll sit for 20 minutes. Hopefully that's going to spin round and they'll collect as well at the centre of the kettle, and then I'll transfer. And here it is. It's transferred. There was some hot matter still in the tube as it was transferring, so that little guard I don't think works as effectively as it's meant to. So I'm thinking next brew I'm going back to using the grain bag and just use that as a filter as I'm siphoning the beer through. But this is it now. It's still very high temperature. It's not reading on the temperature scale, the stick-on temperature scales I've got, but it's still at 13 degrees. I think when I put another 10 litre in, it may come down into the 30s, which means, you know, in a few hours this evening, it's still only 1 o'clock. Maybe this evening it'll be down into the low 20s, or certainly tomorrow morning, and then I'll pitch the yeast. And the yeast that I'm using is Lalleman's English ale yeast. I thought that would be very sort of suitable yeast to use for a very sort of traditional English bitter. So that's it, my brew day's finished. I'm going to transfer this indoors. I'm not topping it up all the way just yet, simply because it's damn heavy when it's 23 litres and I've got to take this upstairs. So I'll keep it at 13. I can just about manage that. I'll take it upstairs. I'll top it up to 23 litres when it's in the little spare room, and yeah, hopefully this evening or tomorrow morning I can pitch the yeast. It's all airtight, it's sealed, you know, there's no problem with that. There's an airlock in place, and then we'll wait for a couple of weeks. I'll bottle it, and this should be a nice autumnal beer in mid-October. So there you go. Hope you've enjoyed that video, my brew day. Tomorrow, as I say, I'm going to be tasting the American Pale Ale, although that video will probably be up before this one because I've had to take many segments of this, lots of clips, and I've got to stick them all together and edit them. So tomorrow I'll just do a headshot video of me drinking my beer. So that will probably go up straight away, if not tomorrow then on Sunday, whereas this one may be, you know, during the week. But there you go. Hope you've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye for now.